Beautiful, beautiful people. Yeah. A couple of days ago, yesterday and the day before, had some stuff coming up for me. I thought I'd just share it on a video. And I guess when I was going through it and sitting in this before just to think about what to do for this video, I'm pretty comfortable in the lounge room just hanging out. Yeah, and it was one of those things, some stuff that was coming up for me. I guess I was seeing how I was in different areas of my life, seeing the effort I'm putting into things with the business, wanting to grow the business quite dramatically, and equally, I guess, being at peace with how I'm choosing to do that. You know, the mentors that I'm looking towards, information that I'm coming up with, all that sort of stuff, you know. Yeah, and this, I guess the struggle yesterday and the day before was very, very real for me. The perceived challenges that I go through, and I say perceived challenges because they're never really, I don't believe they're ever really those things that get us stuck, that are the perceived speed bump in a car park. I believe they're designed to maybe slow us down because sometimes we might need to come at things from another angle. I believe they're just things that come up to help us step into a better version of us, to help us believe in ourselves more, to help us strive to step into that next best version of us that's going to help us take ourselves and our lives to another level. So yesterday and the day before, the things that were coming up for me were real for me. They were things that were just, it's just stuff really, isn't it? It's stuff. And I have a couple of good mates that I check in with. We do like an accountability, support, commitment thing with each other, as this is stuff that I'm growing my business with and helping other men with as well. And realizing that when you help, you're putting stuff out there because your intention is to help other people with stuff, and then when you feel yourself and then observe yourself going through the stuff, it then feels real. Now the cool thing with that too, that's just come to me as well, is that while I'm going through the stuff, and equally this is the same for all of us, while we're in the stuff, that's the stuff that's got the things that we need to then step up to another level, the next best version of us. The challenge contains the solution. The challenge contains that little piece of nugget, the nugget of gold that's going to help us evolve. It's the journey, remembering that it's the journey, the whole thing. Our life is the journey. It's never ending. We're never going to get there, wherever there is. You know, I said to a good mate this morning, we were having a great chat, and what's that old saying? Life, you don't get out of here alive. You know, I don't believe that's how life ends though. I believe there's more to life than just this perception of the human body ending. Anyway, coming back to the struggle stuff. So I also realized with the work that I've done on myself and continue to do, the inner work and the things like that, and with my desire and my intention, my goals to be of service to people, but also be of service more to men, because I can see things from a man's point of view. I can see things from what works for me, what hasn't worked. What's going to work for me may not work for a bunch of other guys, and that's cool. What works for me, aspects of that might work for other guys, or a piece might work for another guy, or the whole thing might work for another guy. It's about us having different strategies and different ways that we know can help us move forward, and equally learning to trust ourselves, go deep. We've been conditioned to believe that tuning into ourselves, our higher self, spirit, soul, God, universe, divine, whatever you want to call it, whatever you choose to believe or not believe, doesn't really matter. There is more to us. I think we could probably all agree, and again, it doesn't matter if we do or we don't, I think we can all agree that there's more to these human beings, these vessels, than we probably give ourselves credit for, than we're probably aware of, than we're probably willing to admit sometimes. We're phenomenal. I use the term infinite brilliant potential because that's what we are. We're infinite, we're brilliant, and this potentiality that is us, the human being, whoever that is that you are when you look at yourself in the mirror, and hopefully you look at yourself and tell yourself that you love yourself. I love you, Pete. There you go. Practice that, but use your name, don't use my name, because that would just be weird. Unless it's not. So the stuff is, it's about, if we can accept the fact that stuff's going to come up for us, it's going to come up for us. Guaranteed fact. I bet my life on it. I know this to be true. I know this to be true for me. I know this to be true for people that I've seen, guys I've worked with, people that I know, mentors that have worked with me, mentors that don't know me that I use as a mentor. The struggle's real. Is the struggle supposed to be there the whole time? No, the struggle is part of the conditioning. The struggle is part of that element of resistance that we need to then step into a better version of us. We need it. So me going through the stuff the last couple of days, it's just stuff. You know, I knew that I would come out of it. I knew that in that moment at some point, ego was kicking in, victim mentality, the bullshit, the mind chatter kept coming in. You know, I was going through some self-worth stuff. I was going through I don't think this is working. Who am I to be teaching, sharing, men's mentoring with other guys? What do I know? All that stuff. I think we probably all go through that. Sitting here today looking back at that and then just going, it's okay, I'm not giving myself a hard time. I reached out to one of my brothers yesterday and just left him a voice message. He lives in Canada. And yeah, I was in it yesterday, and his acknowledgement to me this morning, which was beautiful, and I really, really appreciated it because he said, it's cool, man, the struggle's real, it's all good, doesn't matter, you reached out in that moment. And probably for a lot of us guys, and I know for me, it's one of those things that's a bit tricky in that moment to actually reach out when you're in the shit to another mate, a brother, a friend, a colleague, a mentor, and just go, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do in this moment. Again, because we've been conditioned to do, go and do this to stay plugged in, stay plugged in. So for us to sit in the rawness of the shit sometimes and feel what we're going to feel, and I dare say it's the same for women as well, but I can only speak mainly for guys, is that we're afraid to, because that's a sign of weakness, because that's a sign of going, no, I've just got to push this down. And it's a load of fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's a lie told to you by some other guy who was probably full of shit, because the stuff that he got told was probably from some other guy he was scared, who was full of shit, and they just didn't know how to deal with stuff. Not making them wrong, but it was bullshit. And sitting in that stuff, and I realised coming back this morning, I've gone to go and get myself a chai, coffee. Hang on. You guys can enjoy this chai with me. My beautiful lady got me into chais. Chai tea, it's not chai coffee. Real life chai. Oh my God, seriously. We have to be willing to step up and do the work. I was coming back from the shop, and part of that work was realizing that there's a little version of me, that little version of Pete, and I'm actually just feeling into it now. Probably 5-year-old little Pete was scared at some point that stuff would run out, money would run out, because of obviously my perception of stuff at the age of 5, going through things. And again, we need to remember, if you start looking at the psychology of stuff, the way that this stuff works through our child perceptions of stuff, if we're not working through that and understanding it and able to join the dots, that child wound, that trauma stays in the body, plays out in adult versions of us in similar scenarios. Go and start studying a little bit of psychology and how this stuff works. If we as people can start having a bit more of an understanding of this concept, of how this strategy works, and apply it and practice it, it's not going to be easy. Yesterday and the day before was fucking shit. Didn't feel like it was working for me. Felt like I really had a hatred for life and probably a hatred for myself at some level. Do I feel like that today on this side of it? No, I feel great today. I also realized that the gift of yesterday was to kind of go, cool man, there's just another layer to strip off, some stuff that was triggering me, as my beautiful woman pointed out, which was great. Stuff that was triggering me yesterday and the day before is just new stuff to work on. It might seem like the stuff, so the cool thing about it is I'm a little bit more conscious of what those triggers are now, as opposed to unconsciously being in the shit, not knowing what got me there. So I'm now aware that there's triggers there still to be worked on, and it's okay with compassion and kindness. And then going, cool, all right, well, I'm just going to sit in that a bit more today. I'm going to honor myself. I'm going to get stuck back into my business stuff and my things that I do, my non-negotiables, and keep going. And keep going. Keep going. We've got to get back up. You can't stay down. I know there's times where you feel like you want to, and sometimes if we're going to be running that victim stuff, that's probably exactly how we feel. Just feel like we've just taken a boot to the stomach. And sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes the pain is very, very, very real. Very real. But ultimately, this comes down to being conscious or unconscious. If you're conscious to that you've got stuff, like we all do, and that your job is to love yourself more kindness, more compassion, more openness, strip away those layers, be willing to tune into the essence of you in that moment, and it's going to change moment to moment. Be on a journey of self-discovery, be on a journey of continual involvement. Things get easier, some things get trickier. It depends, I guess, how much we're willing to go into our stuff, own the stuff, work through the stuff from a place of love, kindness, compassion, openness, vulnerability, leaning in, and not giving ourselves a hard time. Why don't I know it? Doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us. We might think, I used to have that mentality going, well, if I beat myself up enough, I know that serves me. And I go, I was a little bit delusional going, the truth is that's not true. That doesn't work. That was only working in that moment to keep me stuck in the story I kept on replay from those old triggers. It doesn't work. It wasn't moving me forward. It was keeping me very much stuck. And we've got to want to get past that. If you don't want to get past it, the things in your life aren't going to change. They're not going to change. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It doesn't matter. So if you're willing to show up, if you're willing to look at yourself, if you're willing to be truthful to yourself, and not from a place of giving ourselves a hard time, from a place of going, the stuff is real, the struggle is sometimes necessary, and everything comes down to a choice. So, you just got to be great at who we are. You have to be great at who you are. You don't owe it to anybody else. Look, I love my partner, love her kids, love my kids, love my brothers, my friends. I have to do life for me first before I do it for anyone else. Before I choose to step up as a leader in my community, and I'm working on being a global leader, I'd like to think that we can all work into being global leaders, because I think the world needs what we have, and it does. And I'm realizing that more and more with our stuff. Our stuff is important because that's our way of sharing our truth to other people, and that stuff, when we share our truth, will help other people. We then have a choice to either implement the stuff that resonates with us and take it on board, or not, and it's okay. It's okay. Remember, you've just got to be great at being you.